Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream tonight. Um, yeah, I am starting out a um, um, new encoder, I guess it would be. Um, I'm doing that, so yeah, I'm excited to see how this goes. So. We are looking at tonight, if you see the picture, Genesis chapter 4 tonight. So, Genesis chapter 4. Um, didn't get to the video of chapter 5 last night, so I'm gonna work on that and try and do that, I guess. If you can call that at that. So, yeah. We're Yeah, I'm excited about this. I really am excited. So, let me move this over here and let's get started. Cain and Abel, chapter 4, Adam and Eve's first sons. Now the man had relations with his wife Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. And she said, I have gotten a man child with the help of the Lord. Again she gave birth to his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of flocks. Flocks are sheep, a herd of sheep. But Cain was a tiller of the ground. Um, a tiller is somebody who turns the soil. Um, I guess you can call it that. I guess. Um, Abel, on his part, also brought of the firstlings of his flock and their fat portions. And the Lord had regard for Abel and for his offerings. But for Cain and for his offering he had no regard. So Cain became very angry, and his countenance fell. Then the Lord said to Cain, verse 6, Then the Lord said to Cain, Why are you angry? And why has your countenance fallen? Verse 7, If you do well, I will not, or if you do well, will not your countenance be lifted up? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door, and its desires it for you, but you must master. Verse 9, to Cain, Where is Abel your brother? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? Verse 10, he said, What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. Verse 11, Now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. So, verse, um, let's see, bear with me here. I'm going to go to YouTube, bear with me. So here it's saying Cain, or Abel had, um, I guess, Abel, on his part, also brought the firstlings, so newborn, um, of his flock and of their fat portions, and there the Lord had regard for Abel and for his offering. So Cain or Abel, um, sacrificed the sheep's fat portions or flocks. fat portions of the firstlings. But for Cain, Cain had no regard. He didn't sacrifice anything. So he became jealous of what Abel was doing. So Cain or because Abel was doing all these things, Cain killed him. Cain killed Abel because he was jealous of all the things that Abel was doing. You know, good things that Abel was doing. So, um, um, you know, so then God asked, "Where is your brother Abel?" And Cain says, um, "I do not know." So he pretends he doesn't know. Says, "I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper?" So essentially asking, "Am I in charge of my brother?" That's essentially what it's asking. Am I in charge of my brother? And then in verse 10, God says, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying out to me from the ground." So, he's crying, he's saying, Lord, or he's crying. His soul's crying to God because his brother killed him. And so, verse 12, or verse 11, finishing up verse 11, now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. Then verse 12 says, when you cultivate the ground, it will no longer yield its strength to you. You will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. So I've got my dictionary here. Let's look up what a vagrant is. Let's look. Again, I'm using Vine's Concise Dictionary. You can see. That's what I'm Vine's Concise Dictionary of the Bible. So, let me go to the V's. Vagrant is what I'm looking at. Vagrant. VAGRANT. That is what I'm looking up. Apparently, my dictionary does not have it. So my dictionary does not have it. So I know what the word means, and everybody else knows what the word means. Here we go. Vagrant. There's two here, a noun and an adjective. The noun is A person without a settled home or regular work who wanders from place to place and lives by begging. Um, Adjective is um, moving from place to place. So I guess migrating may. Well, no, I wouldn't call that migrating. No, it wouldn't be migrating. It would just, yeah, homeless person. That's what I would call this, homeless person. Um, um, Vagrant and a wanderer on the earth. Um, Now we're on verse 13, chapter 4, verse 13. Cain said to the Lord, "My punishment is too great to bear." Verse 14, "Behold, you have driven me this day from the face of the ground, and from your face I will be hidden, and I will be a vagrant and a wanderer on the earth, and whoever finds me will kill me." So, yeah, and then so he's basically saying, "Okay, um, um, he's hiding himself, and he's becoming a homeless person." So, verse 15 says, "So the Lord said to him, therefore, whoever kills Cain, vengeance will be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord appointed a sign for Cain, so that no one finding him would slay him." Verse 16, "Then Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden." So, um, so Nod is a city, I guess. That's what I would say is land of Nod is, I think, a city of Nod, maybe. That's what I would say it would be. When I think of land of, I would think of city of. That's what I would think of. But um, verse 17, Cain had relations with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city Enoch, after the name of his son. Um, Verse 18, now Enoch was born Irad, and Irad became the father of Mehujael, and Mehujael became the father of Methuselah, and Methuselah became the father of Lamech. Lamech took to himself two wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. Verse 20, Ada gave birth to Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents and have livestock. Verse 21, his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all those who played the lyre and pipe. As for Zillah, she also gave birth to Tubal-Cain, and forger of all implements of bronze and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, listen to my voice. You wives, You wives of Lamech, give heed to my speech, for I have killed a man for wounding me, and a boy for striking me. Verse 24, if Cain is avenged sevenfold, then Lamech 77-fold. Verse 25, Adam had relations with his wife again, and she gave birth to a son, and they named him Seth. For she said, God has appointed me another offspring in place of Abel, for Cain killed him. To Seth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enosh. Then men began to call upon the name of the Lord. So, um, so after it talks about Cain's vengeance, or Cain, whoever kills Cain, vengeance will be taken on him sevenfold. So he settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden, and then it talks about all of the um, 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 it goes through Cain's, I guess, wives and then children. And then it goes down to 20, and then down to 25. Adam had relations with Eve again and gave birth to Seth. So Seth was in place of Abel because of course in 25 it says Cain killed Abel. And then um, 26 says to Seth, to him also a son was born, and he called his name Enoch. So his son, Seth's son is Enoch. So really, the sons of Adam and Eve are Cain, Abel, and Enosh. Three sons that Adam and Eve had. Yeah. So now that's right. Cain, Abel, and Seth. Thank you. Cain, Abel, and Seth is who the third son was Seth. It's late for me, y'all. It's late. Oh man, it is late for me. But to read chapter, chapter 4, talking about Cain and Abel, that was the first really murder. Well, it is the first murder in the Bible. Was so murders haven't just started. It's been going on for roughly 6,000 years since Cain and since Cain killed his brother Abel. It's interesting. It is just so interesting. We talk about murders. There's so many murders these days, but really, this is not something new. It shouldn't be new to anybody because, like I said, 6,000 years. It's been since Cain and Abel. Really, that was the first murder or killing. But it's interesting. It is just so interesting. Welcome to those three who have joined, are watching. Welcome to the stream. Um, yeah, welcome. So, it, it's just the Bible when I read chapter after chapter in both the New and the Old Testaments. It is interesting about the stories that are told. We'll get into later about about some of the kings of Israel. Um, we'll be talking about Abraham's son Isaac, and then Isaac's son Jacob, and then Jacob's 12 sons. Um, we'll be talking about so many so many characters. You know, I think, especially the Old Testament. I mean, the whole Bible. There are so many lessons to learn, but also I think of the Bible as a history book. That's essentially what it is. It's a history book, but it's also, things to learn, and it's helps us to do what's right and what's wrong. Um, John L. Davis says, well, and welcome to the stream, says, can you explain? There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men. Um, there were giants. There were, because later on, um, in First and Second Samuel, we talk about David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant. He went. There were. I mean, even earlier when, of course, we'll get into all of this in the future. Um, um, you know, yeah. I mean, there were giants. There were. Um, the what? Not sure. Well, the Cain and Abel and Seth were the sons of Adam and Eve. Um, Cain's line tonight what we read was Cain's line of family. Um, starting from his when he we go back to, I mean, they were the line of Seth, and Dragon says the family of Enoch, on Enoch, mm, Enoch were known as giants. True, very true. Um, John says, I think the sons of God were Seth and Cain, were the daughters of men. Um, hold on. Let me backtrack. Um, well, I'm not sure. Explain more, please. Explain more. I'm not sure. Please explain. I'd appreciate it. Oh, okay. So starting with 17, it says Cain had relations with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch. And he built a city and called the name of the city Enoch after the name of his son. Now to Enoch was born Irad, and Irad became the father of Mahuel, and Mahuel became the father of Methuselah, and Methuselah became the father of Lamech. Six. Dun-dun-dun. Oh, I know. Okay. Um, okay, I get what you mean now. What you mean, John? So 6:4. Let me read to get context of this. Genesis 6:4. Let me read just a little bit. I'll read it to myself and get context. Yeah, as Dragon says, I mean it was um Dragon says this is something that is not exactly known who these sons of gods and daughters of men were. The point is the earth was being populated. True. Because yeah, in six, um, in the beginning of six, it's talking about population, but I mean, yeah, four and then five and six, we're all talking about, it really population of the earth, of what Dragon said. It's the population was growing. So 6:4 says the Nephilim were on the earth in those days. And also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, those who were the mighty men, who were of old men, men of renown. Flash, nevertheless. 120. Hold on. Nephilim. Those were. I'm not sure. Because when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. I am not sure. Oh, of course, we'll get into that Saturday night or Saturday night. I know we'll be studying chapter 6. Um, hmm. I will, because we're actually gonna do chapter 6 on Saturday night. So I will look at that. Um, yeah, I'll have to look. Yeah, I'll look at chapter 6. We're studying chapter 6 Saturday. Because it's the corruption of mankind, the first chapter in the flood, and what I call the flood series, I guess. So yeah, I'll look into that, and you know, um, yeah, why not watch Saturday? We'll definitely study that. 6 verse 4. I will read that and study more into that. Um, but yeah, I will definitely look into that. That's interesting. And get some more insight on that. Oh, that's interesting. That is really interesting. Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, but so I will, You know what? I will do. Um, yeah. So after, yeah. So yeah, I'll look into that. Thanks for letting me know about that, or for, we'll get into that later, definitely. Hmm. So yeah, I want, but it's just the Bible is so interesting because you think these stories are some people think these stories are fake, but no, they're not. They're history. These actually happened. When I read, I'm like, this actually happened. Whoa. There were actually giants. Whoa. These things that you normally don't, when you read it, you're like, whoa, that's cool. I mean, you just hear about them, but you don't actually read. You're just like, eh. But I mean, once you actually read, it drags your focus in. You want to read more. And I think that's what's so intriguing is, when I read a chapter, I'll read three because I'm so into it. It's very cool. I love it. Uh, every story in the Bible, from you know Moses bringing out the um, Israelites from Egypt, bondage of Egypt, um, to King David, King Saul, to um, um, King Saul, or no, King Saul to King David, to King David's son, King Solomon. Um, and then you have Jonah, Jonah who got swallowed by a big fish. I mean, um, um, we'll look at a whole bunch of kings, and then Job. So that gives you a little context. Esther, um, Daniel. Daniel's an interesting book. I like Daniel. My favorite book in the Old Testament is Daniel. Ruth. You know, Dragon brings up a good point. The purpose there, and with all of these stories, there's a purpose behind every one of them. It's more of a teaching moment. To teach us between right and wrong. Um, they're dragon's right. I mean, there are purposes. Right, John, right. Where we came from and where are we going? It trying to get my words. Can't get my words out tonight. Well, I can, but it teaches us between right and wrong. That's what I see all these stories, to do whatever God says. Through his we when we read the Bible, this is what God tells us that we should and we shouldn't do. Um, like Jonah. Okay, we go to Jonah, and well, I'll get into it later, but Jonah, God told him to go to Nineveh. um, you know, Jonah didn't want to, so he thought he could escape from God. Well, one lesson I get out of Jonah. That's an interesting comment. Well, and I've heard that comment before a lot. How is the Bible different from other religious books and writing? Mm, Hmm. I had to think about that one. I had to think about that one a little bit. Um. ah, uh, mm, I had to think about that one a little bit. I do. I have to think about that one. Hmm. Can't think. Um. I'm drawing a blank. They're. Hmm. Goodness. Um. I mean. Uh, I can't. I mean, you bring up interesting points, Dragon. You really do. Good points. I got to think about that. I do. Oh, um, you know what? I got to think about that. Gives me something to think about over these next few days. I'll have an answer. Uh, yeah, true, John. True. You know that John says no other religious book tells of our beginnings. True. Um, I got to think about that. I have to think about that for a while. I do. I really do. I do have to think about that for a little bit. Um, but I mean, yeah, I got to think about that. And I'm not avoiding it. I got to think about that. That's a good question. I got to really think. I mean, yeah, yeah, got to think. I really do. I got to think. I know I'm going to think about that through the next few days, and I will definitely have an answer. I definitely will. But I can't answer. I got to think about that a little bit before I answer. I don't want to say it wrong, I guess. But I do like one of your comments. But that is one thing. But you know, for me, it's well, no, it's in tells of creation, tells of beginning of our lives, like John says. But it also, like I said, it tells us what's right and what's wrong. There's lessons to learn behind stories. There are lessons that can be learned from every story. So, Cain and Abel, how what I get from Cain and Abel is don't be jealous. You know, from Adam and Eve in the garden, that one is there's a lesson to be learned. I mean, you cannot. One lesson I get from Adam and Eve and and the tree is, don't point fingers. If it was you, say it was you. Um, and then you have um one that also you can't hide from God too. And they're um, that's what I get from those two. and I think I'll start doing that too. Um, um, from Noah, and I'll get into it later. I'll get into it Saturday. That is something I've I there are lessons to be learned. So, that is something I will do now. Dragon brought up a good point. You know, what's the we'll do have kind of a discussion after we study. Well, no, this is part of studying. What's the lesson to be learned or to be learned? There's a lesson in every story in the Bible. There is. True, John. True. Well, and all the beginnings and all the prophecies that have come true. 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 So we'll start doing that. You know I never thought of doing that, but that's one thing that I think should do is look at the lesson. You know, and we read Cain and Abel. The one lesson I get out of Cain and Abel is don't murder and don't be jealous. Those are the two things that I get from Cain and Abel. What with from your guys's right? And Dragon says, "How does this apply to me?" Right. And that's how does this apply to our daily lives? You know, jealousy is something that we it's really I talked about this in my teen class in one of the classes. Actually, I think it was last night. You know, jealousy jealousy and selfishness can lead to hatred, can lead to really bad things. You know, because jealousy won't get you anywhere. You can be jealous all you want, but you won't get it. You know, so it's not worth being jealous. And yeah, I agree with the dragon. That's yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. And John brings up a good point. You know, we're part of creation. Right. True. We're so don't be jealous. So that's what I get out of Cain and Abel. Um, I'm gonna start doing that. Well, I'm gonna start thinking of what what lessons can we learn and how can we apply it to our lives. That's how um, my teacher says. The big picture. What's the big picture? Of course, we're studying Proverbs right now, and ooh, it's an interesting book to study. That's for sure. But it's a good book. I've been liking it. So it's been interesting. So it's been a good talk, you guys. I really liked it. I enjoyed it tonight. Thank you all for making it very interesting. I liked it. Um, Chapter 5. I was supposed to do it yesterday. I was busy. Um, we'll I'm gonna try and get chapter 5 done tomorrow. It's just gonna be or read through the chapter, because all chapter 5 is um is I'll show you. Um, all chapter 5 is these descendants of Adam. Actually, I won't show you, but it's the descendants of Adam. That's what chapter 5 is. So we'll study. No, I'll just read through chapter 5. We won't study it. Will just be a separate video that will be uploaded. It might be a live stream, but it won't. But I do live streams, do videos to get them uploaded. So, and then chapter 6 will be Saturday at our normal, at our regular time. So, the corruption of mankind, which starts the Noah and the flood. You know, it starts with the corruption of man. So, we'll be studying that, and I will talk to y'all later. Have fun. And I will see you all Saturday night at 9 o'clock Mountain Standard. I'll try and have it start a little early. Well, I won't start it early, but it will be, reminding people. So I will talk to y'all later. You're welcome. Welcome. I will talk to y'all later. Thanks and have fun. Bye, you all. Bye, y'all.